Hello and welcome. This is Politics on Sunday. I am Abdullahi Uzubakun, sitting in for Femi Akonde, who is busy in Ghana covering President Tinubu's participation at the 6th Media Coordination Meeting of the African Union. Let's begin the program in Ghana, where the 6th Media Coordination Meeting of the African Union was held in Accra. The high-level gathering rallied together African heads of states and governments and leadership of the African Union Commission and partner agencies to review and accelerate the continent's integration efforts. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu joined other continental leaders to deliberate and discuss on key issues affecting the continent in the meeting, which was convened under the AU Team 2024. Now, the President Tinubu presented the 2024 report on the state of the community, focusing on peace, regional security, governance, economic integration, humanitarian and social development, energy, mines, and agriculture. TVC News, Femi Akonde is live for us in Accra, where he's monitoring the 6th Media Coordination Meeting of the African Union. Femi, what else are you hearing after the end of the Media Coordination Meeting of the African Union?
Hi, good evening. Well, after this AU media meeting, it's for the regional leaders and indeed leaders on the continent to return to their regions, their respective countries, to begin to implement some of the resolutions reached at this meeting. For President Bola Tinubu, who represented ECOWAS, of course, in his capacity as the chairman of ECOWAS, Authority of Heads of State and Government, he also briefed the AU. He gave a report of ECOWAS. You know, he briefed on progress in terms of implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, and also talked about issues on the continent, especially the drawback in achieving collective development due to the decision of three countries, that is Niger Republic, Burkina Faso, and Mali, to withdraw from the Economic Community of West African States. You know, President Bola Tinubu is using all alternatives or seeking all means to prevail on these three countries to remain within the fold. He urged leaders of the African Union not to leave this problem alone to ECOWAS to handle. You know, that is also why President Bola Tinubu
Okay, thank you, Femi. And my producer is just telling me about the breaking news, but I'm sure in our subsequent news you will hear that the candidates of the Republican... Femi is back. Okay.
Yes, you know, sorry, it's technology and poor network here. As I was saying, one major thing on President Tinubu's mind, and which he seeks the African Union support, is in dealing with the decision by Mali, Niger Republic, and Burkina Faso to withdraw from the regional bloc. He wants AU now and AU leaders to intervene in any way they can to prevail on them so that ECOWAS will remain one indivisible whole, and they will also together be able to achieve regional goals and objectives. And he is also talking about, you know, conflict prevention. He says the standby force has already been activated, and they will need continuous funding to, you know, to ensure that this standby force is able to respond to issues of terrorism on the continent, and especially in the sub-region of ECOWAS, which is a region also plagued by issues of insecurity. You know, other issues of economic issues and financing development was also raised by President Bola Tinubu. So at the end of the day, there was also a closed-door meeting where leaders agreed and committed to developing Africa, committed to issues that would ensure that, you know, the continent moves up the ladder together as a whole. All of this will be cascaded down to the various countries and the various regions for implementation.
Thank you, Femi. As you can see, the breaking news there, President Biden drops out of the 2024 presidential race. That President Joe Biden announced on Sunday that he will end his presidential re-election campaign, bringing to an abrupt and humbling conclusion to, you know, his career in the White House. Joe Biden is 81. Femi, What do you read between the lines?
Well, this is an interesting one. It's now the race has now been thrown open. Some people say it has been thrown open. Some people say, well, it's allowed a walk in the park for President Donald Trump of the Republican Party. But it now remains to be seen who the Democrats would choose as their flag bearer when they hold the Democratic convention coming up in a few days. It depends on who they can pick as the flag bearer to challenge Donald Trump, because it appears as if Donald Trump's approval rating continues to increase and it seems unstoppable. So all eyes will be on the Democrats to see if indeed they can actually challenge the popularity and wide acceptability of former President Donald Trump.
Okay, we'll give you updates in a subsequent bulletin. That means the race is now open, and it's now depending on who the Democratic Party now choose as the flag bearer that we will see. Maybe the person will be able to confront that Donald Trump, the former president. Now, President Bola Tinubu's assumption of office on May 29, 2023 came at the time that the country was faced with many challenges. However, its bold inaugural declaration of subsidy is gone, heralded the significant departure from previous policies, which signals a departure from the old ways in the nation's economic planning. In its quest to confront these challenges head-on, President Tinubu's administration wasted no time in initiating essential reforms aimed at stabilizing and propelling Nigeria towards sustainable economic development. Now, here is the catch. The big question is, how has all these policies benefit the over 200 million Nigerians? Joining me in the studio to talk on this is the Senior Special Advisor to the President on Community Engagement Northwest Zone, Abdullahi Yakasai. You want to correct something there?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Senior Special Assistant.
Senior S.S.A. S.S.A.
Yes,
Okay. Senior
advisor.
Special Assistant on Community Engagement Northwest Zone.
Yes.
Okay. Let's start from what your office is about. What have you been able to do in the last 1 year in your capacity of, propagating the renewed hope agenda?
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. First of all, this office was never there before. This is the first time in the history of Nigeria that Mr. President has created senior special assistants to represent each of the 6 geopolitical.
So you have
zones.
6 of you?
We are 6.
Yes.
I'll bring them next time I'm coming. I'll bring all of them so that we know what they are doing.
Yes, just finished talking with my sister.
Yes.
Moremi
Okay.
Judo Southwest.
Yeah, exactly. Moremi, your sister. Yes. You see, the passion Mr. President has for the people at the grassroots is what made him to come up with this position. To see that we are more or less bridging the gap between the federal or the presidency and those at the downtrodden of the society, so that there will be that connect between the federal and the local. So that is, to my belief, why Mr. President was being magnanimous in creating these offices.
Upon creation, how effective has this office been?
It has been because we have people that from each of the states in my zone are people that report happenings there, and we write a report on such happenings, whether be it insecurity, be it social issues, be it economic issues. Whatever the challenge is, we get feedback from the people at the grassroots, and then we table it at the federal level so that the federal
at the moment,
will see how
Nigerians don't care about your paperwork. Nigerians don't seem to care about who is delivering the goods. But the problem there is that inflation is at 34% and people are hungry. And Nigerians are saying that, look, we are hungry. We don't care about the structure. We don't care about the bureaucracy, that we are hungry. What is, Mr. President, what is this administration doing to address?
Well, you see, a lot has been done, but we just have to get to time for people to see the result. To begin with, Mr. President, just like you mentioned in your opening remarks, the removal of the fuel subsidy will surely come at a cost, because people are used to the system where government pays the differences for petroleum products. Now that has gone completely. This removal of subsidy has made the country to realize enormous funds now to be able to leverage other areas of the economy. One of the things Mr. President has done, like in the power sector, if we take them one by one, in the power sector, immediately the president came, the first thing he did was to sign the Electricity Bill Act. He did that immediately, that's by June 2023. He signed that law so that the state governments, the subnationals, can as well come in and be part of the generation, transmission, and distribution. In fact, as we're talking now, 3 states, I think Enugu, Ogun, and Osun, are already marketing their own electricity. So this is one. Secondly, there's a lot of debt owed the gas companies. That too, immediately he assumed office, Mr. President directed that debt be settled so that we'll continue to have access to this gas, so that we'll continue to have power. The third one he did in December 2023, he went to Germany, and there's massive infrastructure improvement in the power sector. As we're talking, I'll tell you, last month, Nigeria achieved over, just a bit above 5,000 megawatts, which hasn't come in the last 3 years. We haven't gotten to 5,000 megawatts. So these are some of the things he is doing in the power sector. Then, if you come to the social register, there are 15 million households that are to benefit from this unconditional cash transfer. That one, well, you might say there are over 200 million people in Nigeria, but we're talking of 15 million. It's gradual. It's gradual. We hope and pray in the next 1 year, 50 to 75, we'll get that so that those poor people are benefited. What stopped the process was the issue at the ministry then. And then secondly, one of the conditions needed, because we, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement, are part of that committee that is working to verify this register. So one of the issues we're having is the NIN. The CBN directed that NIN must be provided for you to be captured. So a lot of people are not having this NIN. Those that are having, NASCO is there, the World Bank is there, Ministry of Finance, Budget, and other ministries like Ministry of Communications, so to make sure that
you must be registered, you must be on NIN.
You must have NIN before you benefit from this. So this NASCO is the one going to the local level to verify. What we are doing as Senior Special Assistant Community is to create the awareness through radio stations, through town hall meetings, one-on-one, telling people that you need to immediately get your NIN so that we see that you be part of this, people getting this.
Insecurity remains a pervasive threat to Nigeria's stability, with escalating violence, insurgency, and communal conflict undermining peace and prosperity. What are you doing to make sure we foster peace for farmers to be able to go back to their farms,
yes,
for them to be able to harvest their crops? Yes. At the end of the day, you need peace.
Absolutely.
But in a situation whereby they've taken, what's the situation in your own region?
In my region, it's better than what we used to have. It is much better because from Abuja to Kaduna, before, you and I know that every blessed day
it was under siege.
It's under siege. You can't even travel.
By road?
Not even by road, by train. Train has been attacked severally. So people were just scared of traveling. But we know the situation is better now. Quite all right, there are more challenges, in especially the Northwest, which is now the most troubled region out of the 6 regions. But the government is doing a lot. There's one statistics I saw yesterday on NTA. I think I need to say it here. From January to March 2024, 1,241 kidnapped victims have been rescued. Yes. From April to June 2024, we have also rescued 1,993 kidnapped victims. They have also been rescued. Then we have criminals that have been arrested. 3,000 within the same time between April to June this year, just April to June, we have 3,682 criminals arrested, and we have 3,682 terrorists eliminated. So these are things maybe people don't get to hear, but we have to do more in disseminating this kind of information.
Even preventing that number. It's alarming that we have up to 1,000 in the first quarter of this year.
In just one quarter.
Yes.
April to June.
What is government doing? What are they doing?
This is what they are doing. They have rescued these people. It means
the capacity.
It means the criminals have been subdued. For us to rescue these people, that means a lot of security apparatus have been used to rescue them. The National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Badu, is doing a lot with our service chiefs to curtail this kidnapping, because, I mean, it has become a daily nightmare for Nigerians. And I'm telling you, the security architecture of this country, under Mr. President, who is the Commander-in-Chief, they are working assiduously to see that security is being restored. So anybody that tells you the insecurity is deteriorating, I don't think he's telling the truth. Because from where we are coming from the last administration, from when Mr. President came into power, May 29th last year, there's a whole lot of improvement. That's why I'm giving you these figures.
Okay, let's look at, if we have security on ground now, let's look at the rising food inflation. You know, it poses a significant challenge to Nigeria's economy.
Yes.
Deepening poverty and food security for millions of citizens.
Yes.
Now, this can be linked to a lot of factors, and security inclusive.
Yes.
Now, what is the government doing to make sure that they stem this tide?
Yes. Okay. You see, Mr. President, through the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, they've done so well. The first thing Mr. President did when he came in was the first savings we had in the first 3 months were dispersed to the subnationals, that's the state governments. They were given a lot of chunk of money so that they help the farmers in their various communities, so that once there is a sufficiency of food, the prices will crash. This is natural. So that was done the first time after removal of subsidy. And then just recently, Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation came out to say publicly that each state has gotten 20 trucks of grains. These are part of measures to bring down the price, one, and two, to alleviate the suffering. It's not enough, but it's a gradual process. And if Mr. President, in his own wisdom, decides, okay, let's do this to help the economy, I think it's good. There's one thing I want to mention about what the Ministry of Agri is doing so that people get to know seriously where we are at the moment. You see, in the Ministry of Agriculture, just recently, they have launched, earlier on, they have launched dry season farming involving 118,651 hectares. In 15 states, Jigawa got the highest, 40,000 hectares. The governor is doing very well in terms of agriculture. Then again, there's an intervention of almost 309 billion into the economy. They supported a total number of 107,421 wheat farmers. This I know, with inputs resulting in output of 472,000 metric tons. They have also created about 60,000 jobs across the agri value chain. All these are things that Mr. President, his number one worry is this issue of food security. That is why he made a pronouncement that borders should be open for food crops, that's the grains, to be brought in. All these are aimed at lowering the cost of food prices. And once we lower the cost of food prices, the inflation will drop.
I want to look at enrollment in your region, what you are doing to encourage youth to go back to school.
Well, first of all, we have to commend Mr. President for this wonderful initiative that he has introduced. That is the school student loan. This has gone to show that no student in any tertiary institution will be deprived of graduating from school. So we're doing a lot of advocacy because some of the students in our region, they don't even want to hear about it because they feel it's a loan, and then they will be, you know,
that the process is
they will be put in a corner. Yes. But what we're telling them always is, this program on student loan, you will be obtaining it till you graduate from school. In fact, till when you start working, that is when you start paying this loan. Because you have to, in the format, we're doing from leaflets to give to the students in these various town hall meetings so that they know the conditions. Your NIN has to be there, your BVN has to be there, so you can't run away. But the government is ready to make sure that no student drop out of school. So we're doing this advocacy, and then we're also trying to do a workshop or a sort of a seminar on this out-of-school children.
Yeah.
Because
no more dropouts.
Dropouts. And then even at the primary and secondary level, you know, the basic education, you see a lot of our children out on the street, begging and doing whatnot. So what we're trying to do is, we're trying to make sure that we have a robust and all-encompassing approach so that the parents will know that, yes, government is doing this. And Mr. President has put in 100 billion in the budget for school feeding. This is to take care of the basic primary education. So that once the teachers know that, yes, their children will be given food, that will motivate them to take them to school. Why are they on the streets? It's because they are out there begging. So if the government is ready to provide this school feeding, then it means every parent should be encouraged to take his child to school. There are other things that I want to state here, apart from this school feeding, you know. The parents in our communities need this reorientation, because the president is trying to reset the country. We need this reorientation so that there will be a lot of awareness campaign to make sure that every child goes to school. I think in some of these states, or most of these states, there's that law. In my state, Kano, there's the law that a parent must take his kid to school. But are they being punished if they don't? These children roaming the streets, are they taken to know where their houses are so that the government will sit with their children? This is the areas I think we need to work harder on.
Ultimately, when you, like your office, in terms of funding, in terms of participation, in terms of impacts, what do you look forward to this next year?
Well, in terms of funding, we came after the budget. We came just around that time. So we don't have budget, but we have like an overhead. This is what we would like to see funding in these offices, because just like when we met the Senate President, we pleaded with him that we should be funded so that we don't need to be in Abuja. As Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement, we need to be in our various zones. Grassroots. Feeling the impact of the people, telling the people how to key into government programs, because there's infrastructure funding. There's consumers, 100 billion for consumer scheme. You know, there are all this funding, but our people don't even get to know about it. Not to talk of knowing how to key in.
Thank you.
We will want to be at the grassroots so that we will be telling people all these programs, wonderful programs Mr. President is putting in, even though it might take a little time and patience, but they will manifest.
All right. Abdullahi Yakasai, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Development. I want to thank you for joining us on Politics on Sunday. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, my brother.
Also, we take our breaking news. Yes, in the United States, the big one. The United States President Joe Biden has dropped from the November presidential election. Mr. Biden, in a statement on X, says he's stepping down as a candidate in the 2024 election, and that he will speak to the nation later this week about its decision. Before now, dozens of congressional Democrats have publicly urged the 81-year-old to step aside after his debates last month against Republican challenger Donald Trump, 78. So we are monitoring the development, and my producer is just telling me that the Vice President, Kamala Harris, has just been nominated. Interesting times. It's very, very interesting. Kamala Harris has just been nominated by the Democratic Party. So it might just be a race between by Biden. So we don't know if the Democratic Party will settle for Kamala Harris, that is the Vice President, to face the President Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump, the candidate of the Republican. And that's our take today. Join us next week for another edition of Politics on Sunday. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. See you.